Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out, thanks and appreciation to Chris Wouters, Mr. Amish, Naughty Thumbnails, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name's Burley, Twad Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, JMels24, Unimento, M, Iron26, Eric Troche, Endless, Golden McKinnon, Retro Bill, Level Plain Poem, Canna Bear, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B. Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, David Wayne Foster and Dank. Another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now, we are joined by Neil, Refracted Curvature, the Adam Meakin, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So I'm a little bit under the weather again. Therefore, I've lost my temper with several people who aren't even here, and one that was in the pre-show. So if you remember, check that out after the fact. I probably said a few things that I would probably regret if I was a bit less ill, but there we go. That's life, isn't it? Let's do a bit of housekeeping. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Over there. Well, it's not. Too many clouds, but
Well, if you're going to claim a distance, you're gonna use an elevation angle, which requires a horizontal plane of reference. It requires a flat plane to try to describe that distance.
That's a good point. When they infer a measurement of an angle, a la Slice Arcane about 6 years ago, then they're measuring angles, aren't they? Remember that, Adam?
it's Slice Arcane. No.
Yeah, did a moon measurement. Got a whole bunch of people to take angles. Well, you need a flat Earth for those angles.
Yeah, we weren't quite ready then to destroy it back then, were we? The argument wasn't fully tensed.
It started out with Smokescreen Design doing a response. It was part 2 in a response to Red's Rhetoric after Red's Rhetoric had actually addressed Jeranism. So, Smokescreen Design addresses Red's Rhetoric's explanation for, I can't remember what, but something that required an R value for Earth. So, Red's Rhetoric goes through the angle measurement process and then inserts R to show how Earth's a sphere. And Smokescreen Design comes along and goes, you've just inserted R, therefore it works equally well on a flat Earth as it does on a globe. And he was wrong. It only works on a flat Earth because you can only get the angle measurements from a flat Earth to insert the R after the fact. Therefore, you will require Earth to be measured flat in all instances. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curve, at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet as laid down in Earth curve mathematics?
You can't assert that the Earth is curving to assert a geometric horizon. It's impossible.
No, you'd have to extrapolate out that claim from a differential between the surface level, which is flat, even in their own mathematics, and the eye level, also parallel with the surface level. Flat, straight, Go on, Neil. What? What, Neil? I think he's just pocket raised his hand. So, as I say in the pre-show, somebody who came in and claimed to be on the fence, Ed Masto, I think it was, although under some AK name, essentially said it's a straw man to say that Earth curve blocks boats and buildings. So Neil went to Google and said, "How do you prove Earth's a sphere?" And Google say, "Earth blocks boats and buildings with a physical horizon called Earth curve." But as soon as that claim fails on its arse, the person claiming it will deny that they're even claiming it.
I heard a bit of that, and it's funny. It's where they're going to now, isn't it? Is blatantly denying their own claim, to deny that Earth curve is the thing that boats and buildings disappear bottom up from.
Well, the geometrical horizon only exists in the math.
Now it does.
Not according to Google. For average Joe Normie, Earth curve is Earth curve at 1.2 times the square root of the observer site in feet. It's going to block boats and buildings, as claimed by globe believers. That's the claim. Now, the fact that we have debunked it means they have to give us all sorts of nonsense about how it's not their claim, how it's a straw man to make the claim of Earth curve, and the response that guy got earlier was, "Welcome to flat Earth." If the horizon's not Earth curve, welcome to flat Earth.
No one is expected to see the geometrical horizon.
What I want to know, again, is despite the fact that people like the guy yesterday who lied and Ed Masto today, who's got to deny his own premise, the claim he's making in the first instance of Earth curve has to be relinquished at the point of loss to us. The fact that it's measured flat didn't necessarily come up with that guy today, only after the fact. But these are the people that we're dealing with. Nobodies. Yet in the YouTube world, we've got anti-flat earth personalities that are propped up getting thousands of views, dealing with the lowest hanging fruit that there is out there. I suppose there's no necessity for the personalities of anti-flat earth to come and deal with our absolute stone cold facts about how Earth's measured flat when we're suppressed to the bottom of the lists. So hardly anybody's going to them to say, "You do realise that Earth's measured flat? They demonstrate it daily on Flat Earth Debate." Maybe my audience could go and let SciMan know exactly that. I recently left him a comment in one of his shorts videos where he's dealing with some clown that's claiming comets hit the moon. So correcting him on the fact that it's meteors, according to him, in an orbital motion, that's Dan, is absolute garbage. It's the lowest hanging fruit on the internet. We show our Earth's measured flat for your sphere claim. So please let SciManDans know. Let's dig out a video. Can you talk amongst yourselves? I'll dig out a video of SciManDans so we can let him know.
You know, I was thinking about the celestial sphere model. Someone else trying to talk, sorry.
No, I don't think so.
I was thinking about that space, you know, because they expand the stars of the celestial sphere out to infinity to justify parallel light rays striking the equatorial plane. That means that their heliocentric universe is also directly dependent upon a flat plane of reference.
Yeah, the whole model is derived from the equatorial plane, isn't it? It's like model.
Yeah, so
It's not really a model. It's an assertion that comes off a flat measurement.
So to assert
Yeah,
space that gas isn't filling, it requires you to conceptualize it from a flat plane of reference.
Yeah, they're claiming parallel light. And that light coming in almost parallel is meeting the ground at perpendicular. And you cannot have a perpendicular, but perpendicular to that vertical is horizontal, which is something that spheres don't have. So they can never have a perpendicular.
It doesn't seem you can have Euclidean geometry on Earth without, or you can't have geometry on Earth without it being flat.
Yep.
Okay,
And that would be the.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and that's the geometry that they invoke to try to claim it's a sphere, too. You know, that's why it has to be flat.
This is actually ridiculous. I just went to Wikipedia. You want me to read something from Wikipedia?
Go.
Empirical evidence for the spherical shape of Earth. The roughly spherical shape of Earth can be empirically evidenced by many different types of observations, ranging from ground level, flight, or orbit. The spherical shape causes a number of effects and phenomena that combine disprove flat Earth beliefs. There's one thing right there that's wrong, beliefs. These include the visibility of distant objects on Earth's surface, lunar eclipses, appearance of the moon, observations of the sky from altitude. Wait a second, I'm driving, give me a second. From altitude of the moon, observations of the sky from the altitude, observations of certain fixed stars from different locations, observing the sun, surface navigation, grid distortion on spherical surface, weather systems, gravity, and modern technology. These are all the empirical proofs that Earth is not flat. That's sad.
Yeah, but they all
That's
require a flat plane for the claim.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say that, George. They all require a flat plane to measure, to make those inferences, without exception. Apart from the technology one.
That's
What's that
why
got to
it's
do with anything?
sad.
But the technology one's a pretty sad claim. It's like, what technology proves Earth's not flat? That's crap.
There was not one bit of meat on any of those bones. It would just, it proves. Does it how? Which one? Pick one and tell me which one and how it proves it. Can't say
Surface
it
navigation.
proves it, not cite it.
Yeah, surface navigation
What
proves
does
it's not flat.
empirical mean, though?
Empirical
Sorry.
means proven.
Reference from reality.
It's saying surface navigation proves it's a sphere. No, it doesn't. Earth's measured flat in celestial navigation. That's navigation of the surface. They're just lying. There's no meat, as you put it, on any of those bones. It's a baseless assertion in all instances. Crap when it comes to
you can't
technology
fake the
proves it's
moon.
not a flat plane. Does technology prove that? No, it does not.
Well, which bit of technology? What do you mean? Any old technology proves it? What are you on about? Washing machines. That's technology. How do they prove it's a globe?
Washing machines couldn't work on a flat Earth.
I'm pretty sure it's a valid logical form to say if toaster, then Earth sphere.
Yes, that is the level. Right, although it's not the video I was just referring to or referred to in the pre-show, just so I've got the actual video that I've put in the live stream chat. I've not actually watched this, so I don't know exactly what this is going to be, but we'll see.
On one's desk. Now, obviously, this man is confused because there is no up and down in space. Up and down are relative to the Earth's surface, up being away from the Earth's surface and down being towards the Earth's surface.
Dan just proved a flat Earth. To describe up and down with respect to the surface must be flat. SciManDans just proved a flat Earth. On a globe, you wouldn't have an up or a down. You'd have an in and an out with respect to the centre of a sphere, whereas Dan's proving Earth is flat. I didn't expect that. Well done, Dan. Please let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me to tell you that you measured Earth flat with up and down. That's respect to a horizontal plane of reference.
Dear, oh dear, this one is a real bad one.
Sorry, you just used a flat Earth, Dan. Were you unaware? Maybe my audience can let you know. You are requiring a flat plane of reference to describe up and down.
So you start your journey at the Arctic, as far to the north as you can, and you begin to go south. Now notice as I'm going south.
Is it just me, or is this fruit so low hanging that the guy's got Dan's religious belief in a sphere right in front of him? So you're not really
correct, because
even addressing flat earthers and their claims in respect to a flat earth and how it's measured. You're talking about a guy and how he describes how your sphere belief works, right, Dan? You couldn't get much lower hanging.
I have to continue dipping the nose of my airplane in order to stay level with the ground. I'm going to continue all the way to Antarctica. Now notice I'm continuing to dip my nose.
What a shame. First half of that statement was excellent. Adam, give him props.
I was about to, yeah. I'm not sure why he's got a great topic, which is about to be about aerodynamics, how planes work, and he's abandoned it to go traversing a globe by the looks of it.
And moreover, to go to Antarctica.
Say north to south.
It's just the fact that he's going to
That's a
Antarctica.
horizontal vector.
Go on, George, sorry.
No, it's saying north to south. That's a horizontal vector.
Yes, it is. No, Dan doesn't know that, and neither does this guy.
Nose down to stay level with the Earth. Now I'm going down.
You can't stay level with the sphere Earth, my friend. You know, all you're doing is offering someone like SciManDans the lowest possible hanging fruit. There is no level on what you're doing. It's a sphere. So to stay level, you need to nose down. Great statement. They don't. But now we're going to go to Antarctica. Okay.
Into South America, continuing to dip down, and finally I get down here to Antarctica. And look at that. My airplane is upside down.
And look at that. A man who doesn't understand that the Earth is not a plastic globe on some.
Right, you're going to show us how the planes do account for Earth curve, Dan, because that's his argument. But you're going to attack the fact that he's got a ball on his desk. That's your rebuttal.
Someone's desk.
That's your rebuttal, is it?
Obviously, this man is confused because there is no up and down in space.
That is literally it. That's the only rebuttal. No, your claim that planes would have to account for Earth curve drop as they progressed along the plane that they traverse is thwarted by me saying he thinks it's just a globe on a desk. Is that a rebuttal? Is that even a rebuttal?
No, it's a non sequitur and just a confused lie at best. Because when do aeroplanes fly in space? I'm not sure what he's on about. We're talking about planes, and then there's no up and down in space. Lovely, happy for you. There's no cheesecake in space either, mate. What's that got to do with aeroplanes?
There is no
Is altitude not up and down? Sorry.
I was just saying there is no Earth in this space he's talking about either, because it would
There's
be
no aeroplanes.
But there's no Earth in this space that he's talking about either.
Go on, Brian.
Is altitude not an up and down?
Altitude isn't up and down, and he already confessed to that. Dan, that is.
Said there's no up and down in space. Yeah, but planes don't fly in space. They're dealing with altitude. That would be a vertical height above mean sea level.
Yeah, but if they were in space, there'd be no up and down, and therefore that would still not address the point that bloke made.
Yeah, this is who gets propped up. This is what I was moaning about in the pre-show. Idiots dumbing down society like SciManDans, who cannot even comprehend his opponent's point in this instance. And his rebuttal to it is stupid at best. Furthermore, part of his example requires a horizontal plane of reference to describe up and down for planes to traverse the plane. That's what they're doing. They don't account for drop of Earth's sphericity, ever. Now, in order to actually rebut this, you'd need to show that they do. So I'm going to challenge Dan to do just that. Given that you have absolutely unequivocally ignored this man's actual point, I'll put it to you in a more concise way. Dan, I challenge you, because you do debate. Remember when you debated me on Twitter and then went around lying about that fact that you lost to me in debate on Twitter? Yeah? Well, I would like you to explain exactly why. I forgot my point now. I'm so bloody ill. What was I going on about?
Why aeroplanes don't know.
Why aeroplanes don't drop. I want Dan to actually address this man's point and show aeroplanes correcting for Earth's sphericity. Now, they don't, and he never will show this, Earth being measured flat, and all of the navigation systems that the plane utilises are also flat, without exception. But Dan's claimed to rebut this by saying he thinks Earth's just a desk ball. No, Dan, you're going to have to actually address some of this, and I'm sending an audience to make sure that you actually do address it. Because you going after the low-hanging fruit isn't going to cut it anymore. Yeah? People are telling you that Earth is measured flat, and I want you to address that.
Yeah, and do not address it by while utilizing a horizontal plane of reference or the word level, which is having no part higher or lower than the other, which is the description of a plane. So you don't use up and down, because that's with respect to those planes of reference. You can only use in or out. See how you can describe drop with in or out.
Hopefully one of the mods will put SciManDans link back in the chat so that some members of the audience, got 72 people watching, can go and let him know. Flat Earth Debate are challenging you based on the fact that they show Earth is measured flat for your sphere claim. And they want you to address that fact. The fact that Earth is measured flat. Not the fact that some tosser's got a globe on a desk. Now, that's crap. Now, that's just a proof that YouTube use you to make people more stupid. So please let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. There's a link going by in the live stream chat now, thanks to Divergent Droid. And yeah, hopefully Dan, who to his credit did actually put one of his videographers, I do believe it was Dan, in the comment section. He tagged the person he was responding to. I doubt that's as an influence of me saying that they should do this when they're responding to videos. But the idea being that in the same way we're sending an audience to Dan, not that he needs any greater promotion, YouTube do it for him to dumb down the world. Nevertheless, we're sending a few people his way. And if he were to respond, by respond, I mean justify how your sphere utilises a flat Earth measurement, elevation angle specifically. And we want Dan to address that fact. The fact that Earth is measured flat for his sphere belief. We've been going through it for the last few months. If he doesn't understand, we can clarify it for him. Maybe via Twitter. Right, Dan? Where you debated me? I can clarify it via Twitter if you don't understand it, Dan. I understand how stupid you are. I understand that us telling you that your sphere Earth belief comes as a result of a flat Earth measurement, that might be a little bit too much for you to understand. Now, I can explain it further via Twitter where we can debate, Dan, where we debated previously and you lost to me. Now, obviously, I prefer you stopped lying to audiences about what you do in debate. You lost to me in debate on Twitter. So stop lying, you scumbag. But address the fact that your sphere belief comes from a flat Earth measurement. That's what we're putting to you. It's a damn sight harder to overcome than some guy with an aeroplane with a globe on a desk that you can address it by saying in a non sequitur fashion, he thinks Earth's just a globe on a desk. No, he obviously doesn't. But that's what the dumbest person on YouTube can address this claim with. His actual claim was planes would have to go around the sphere of the Earth, the curve of the Earth, if they're on a sphere, and they don't. Meanwhile, the claim they're on a sphere for them to not traverse, the belief in it required a flat Earth measurement. Elevation angles to Polaris to give you the minimum elevation angle and your radius value, or Al-Biruni's differential calculation from eye level to surface level to derive R. Both require a flat Earth. And I want Dan to address that. Lest he be called the same coward he was when he started lying about losing in debate to me on Twitter. Total coward, total scumbag liar. Now it's time to actually address some proper flat Earth arguments so we can show the world just how stupid this man is. Same with Dave McKeegan. Same with all of these numpties. They're all out here dumbing the world down as they search for this subject. The
Dave
public, that
McKeegan
is.
has a video that came out in the past 24 hours. I didn't see it. Something to do with airplanes as well. Sorry.
Yeah, McKeegan, I saw the thumbnail and I saw that he got 60,000 views on it in about 5 hours. Gone from zero to hero in no time because he's algorithmically favoured. Why? Well, because he's some dumb, stuttering, speech impediment-laden idiot that can show the world how, if he can do it, you can do it. If this complete moron can do it, you can definitely debunk the flat Earth claims. Why? Well, we're going to look at some aeroplanes. Like, what about measurements? Let's start the discussion with the actual measurements of Earth. The ones that lead to the R value for your sphere belief. Let's start with those. Not looking at aeroplanes, not looking at boats and buildings in the distance, looking at how we physically measure Earth. And how we physically measure Earth is flat. We're demonstrating that. Under very heavy suppression. Please share the show. We did 3 days on Anthony Riley, and as much as you tried to convince me that it would be very, very popular, Brian, I think the audience is probably a bit sick of doing it now.
Yeah, no worries. It's okay. There was loads there that we never got to. Loads. That was only the big problem was right in the middle. That guy did his best to spend 45 minutes not admitting that he didn't have the citation, or he just made it up, or added to something, or someone. You know what I mean? He wouldn't send it on. It was brought up again later on, but there was loads of other important, juicy stuff that never got covered. But it doesn't matter because the topic itself, you can't force it down everyone's throat, I suppose, for a whole week. Do you know what I mean? So that's fine.
Well, I'm happy to come back to it. That's what I was about to say. So I agree. There is other stuff in there that can be covered. So therefore, maybe next week, if we cover it then. I'm probably going to take tomorrow off. I'm going to be honest. Every day I've got more ill. So I think I should probably at least have a day off just to get better. And if I can do it on a Friday, I think by Monday I'll be better. But at the moment, I'm pouring with sweat. I feel like death. Anyway.
Hot whiskey, that's what you need.
What's that? Paracetamol?
Hot whiskey.
Hot whiskey? Same thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Exactly the same.
Yeah, and both days I've thought, I need an easy show. So I've said to the panel, can you lead this show today? And then yesterday it was Bacon lying about azimuth angle measurement calculation, according to him. Or both, once he's called out on his lie. And then today it was Ed Masto. You know, I'm like, why? I've only just started and now I'm pouring with sweat. Why do you think they do that? Why are they lying to us? Not Dan, he's just dumb as hell. But the people who actually do come here with tactics and lies.
It's either lie or lose. That simple. I've had it myself in the past 24 hours. I'll tell you about it if you want. You got 2 minutes.
Yeah, definitely.
Was attacking spherical trigonometry. This claim of spherical trigonometry, right? So I put out a challenge there yesterday.
Hold on, Brian. Are you hot micing or did you want to add something lumpy? Hot micing. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay, so I was attacking that spherical trigonometry. I put out a challenge there a couple of days ago, and the ballers were all just complaining, I can't do any of this if you won't allow us to have a radius, blah, blah, blah. And we need this and we need that, right? Because spherical trigonometry is a load of rubbish, right? There's no such thing. There's no such thing as a spherical triangle. But anyway. So yesterday I brought another challenge where I gave them 2 side lengths and an angle. And I said they must keep the side lengths the same and they must keep the angle the same. Right? They can't change the angle. And I gave them the radius of the globe. I said, no. And you can set it at any orientation you want. In other words, move the angle to any of the 3 points you want. But you must use that angle within your claimed spherical triangle. And those 2 side lengths must stay the same in length and whatever else, right? And they came back with a load of nonsense, right? They came back with a load of first person came back, this guy Andrew Johnson, came back with a load of jargon, right, about how he did it. But what I had added into my challenge was at the end, I showed what the 3rd side length would be if we used a real triangle, right? Now, he came back with a claimed spherical triangle that had the same angle within it that I had set, that didn't change, and 2 side lengths, but it had a smaller 3rd side, which meant two things. One, he was totally lying because you can't have a smaller third side, right? Right, especially in a spherical triangle, you wouldn't be able to have that. Secondly, the whole thing of a spherical triangle is it creates what they call spherical excess mathematically. It's all mathematical. So he actually went against the whole spherical excess thing to try and lie his way through it. Now, a lot of other people joined in with him and started coming up with coordinates off of Google Earth and blah, blah, blah. But they all just tried to parrot the things, what he was saying. So they're all together on Discord, and several of them were trying to parrot the same stuff. And they called them out, all out on it and said, this is a chorus of lies. Because all you're doing is trying to claim that you're using greater than 180 degrees and coming up with a smaller internal area than if you used 180 degrees. Now, why did they need to do that? Why did they need to come up with a big elaborate scheme that's just a chorus of lies? There's just a load of them trying to say they've all done it and it all works out the same and spherical trigonometry proven. When it was every one of them, I said to them, how can you have greater than 180 degrees and the same two side lengths and have less internal area than what the actual real triangle would have? That's impossible. You would have to have more internal area because you're using greater number of degrees and keeping the two same side lengths. No matter what you do, you're going to end up with a greater internal area. It's what they call spherical excess. And they actually, none of them could address that. They wouldn't even address that they even got the comment. Do you know what I mean? Why did they need to do that? Because it's either that or admit that this spherical trigonometry claim is a load of rubbish. So why did they do it? Why did they need to lie? Because it's lie or lose. Simple as.
The way these measurements are actually taken is with respect to a horizontal plane of reference. The fact that they can then project those measurements up through a protractor that they call the globe means that they have an excess. But the actual measurements themselves are taking place on the equatorial plane, on a flat Earth. The globe itself is nothing more than a glorified protractor that we do not stand on. We're not standing in the middle of it either, that's for sure. It just doesn't exist. Earth's measured flat. The inference of a globe comes from that flat Earth measurement, projecting up measurements through the equatorial plane up onto the protractor known as the globe, won't make the surface sphere-shaped. It'll just cause mathematical problems.
I'm sorry, I just read 10 empirical proofs that Earth is not flat. Do you deny them?
What technology? Let's start with that one. How does technology prove Earth's not flat?
Well, the technology they're probably talking about is the moon, right? They went to the moon. So technology proves that Earth is a sphere because through technology, they were able to go to the moon and send a nice shot of the blue marble. There you go.
Okay, let's start there. The sky is not a vacuum. If the sky was a vacuum to traverse to get to the moon to take pictures of Earth from space, then the gas we're breathing would fill the space. When they look back at a blue marble with gas pressure around it in a 10 to the minus 17 torr vacuum, that was a lie, a violation of natural law. You can't travel through second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuums to take pictures of Earth from space. There is no space. On screen now. Admittedly with sextants.
Okay.
Also,
What
Hold on.
about
Nearly done. This is 14 or 14.7 or thereabouts PSI, according to them. This is a 10 to the minus 17 torr sky vacuum. Now, if the sky was a vacuum, that would be an area of volume at a much lower pressure that high pressure gas could fill, then this high pressure gas would go into this space. It's a law of nature. It's called the second law of thermodynamics. Now, SciManDans also covered this with a BBC correspondent, didn't he? And they didn't have any rebuttal to that. The BBC correspondent was like, well, it's just magical words or something. That was the level of the BBC correspondent's response to Dan when he pointed out that the second law of thermodynamics proves the sky is not a vacuum. I trimmed that out too, didn't I, Dan? Yeah? The sky is not a vacuum. You can't travel to the moon to get pictures of space. What's next?
Well, the funny
Also,
thing is,
before you go,
hold on.
Just
Good.
saying before you go off at that point, just to add to Nathan's point, the difference in what they're calling the 14.7 psi that's claimed to be around our globe, and what's out in their outer space is 14.6.99999999999. It's crazy. There's no 10 to the minus 17 torr is such a low PSI value, such a low pressure that it's all you're literally almost taking away basically all the air, everything. And that 14.7, according to them, is not expanding out rapidly into this 10 to the minus 17 torr.
Straight up.
Also, the space that they're speaking about that gas would be filling is with respect to a horizontal plane of reference that is the Earth.
Yeah, to describe the gas moving up would require a horizontal plane of reference to describe it.
I think, Bri, I worked that out. I think it was. I was trying to work out as the number of molecules per meter cubed, but there wasn't one molecule in a meter cubed. So you needed 3 meters cubed, I think it was, to have one molecule at 10 to the
It was me that
minus.
asked you to calculate this. Do you remember?
Yeah. I think it was 3 meters cubed to have one molecule in.
Yeah,
That's
3
the-
meters. Yes, I do remember. It was exactly that. It was 3 meters cubed. In other words, what the problem was that typically you'd do it in a meter cubed, but that's not enough space. There'd be 0 in it.
Yes, Adam. Yep, that's correct. I calculated it myself there some while back.
All right, tough guys. The next one before that was gravity.
What's that?
That just explained everything about the moon, the moon travel, right? It's because of gravity. You're saying that you can't have gas pressure without containment, and I agree, but they're claiming that gravity is the containment. It'll stop the gases from continually accelerating into its available volume.
What's the composition of this gravity you're claiming?
It just says gravity. But the one I'm really concerned about is, what is grid distortion on a spherical surface? What is that?
Their distortion that they're trying to turn into something that is the opposite of a proof. That's what that is. Distortion being the operative word. Why do they have distortions?
That's grid distortion? What do they mean
Well,
by that?
What grid is distorting? Would it be the latitude and longitude grids?
That's what I'm thinking. So that's proving a flat Earth right there. And then you got observing the sun.
What, looking at the sun?
These are empirical. It says
Is it
right
just
here.
me?
Empirical evidence.
Is it just me, or do these sound like housekeeping questions, but with the baseless assertion that they actually prove the globe?
That's exactly what they are. Yeah.
I didn't catch that till you just said it.
So just lay out the housekeeping questions and just say, well, that proves the globe.
And you want me to believe that we're not having an effect. You could not have found this laid out the way it is right now, say 5 years ago. But now, because Flat Earth Debate, Nathan Oakley 1980, they got these ball housekeeping questions. We're making an impact.
Maybe. I mean, while they've got people like SciManDans promoting utter nonsense from a complete position of ignorance, lying about debating and things of that nature, we will continue to be in the position that we're in. Because anybody looking for us will never find us. They'll only find the YouTube dumbing the world down SciManDans videos. Hence, we need the audience to go and tell them. 77 people watching. Please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Hopefully we can get up to 100 people watching. It'd be nice to get the audience numbers going in the right direction. But please let him know, of the 77 people in the audience, please let SciManDans know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. He's got some serious questions to be answering. Go ahead, Brian. Neil.
The one that says fixed stars from different locations, is that south observation and north observation is different? Is that the thing my son is always telling me?
You asking Brian?
I'm asking anybody. Observation of certain fixed stars from different locations.
You'll need a flat Earth for those.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Hey, do you remember when the Baller came out with their own housekeeping questions?
Vaguely. Remind us.
I can't remember any of them. They were so bad, but they did come out with them.
Yeah, that didn't really last very long, eh? Typically, if you've got a good set of housekeeping rules in a hotel, then to keep the place looking nice, you go through that all the time. You just keep up that process over and over and over and over again. Where's their housekeeping questions? Oh, they don't have them. They just were there temporarily to mock us, presumably.
This is sad. If anybody was really looking into the subject and they stumbled across this, I guess the way they have it worded, it may seem like, wow, they got it all locked down here. But if they watched any of our shows and everything, or paying attention a little bit, they're going to look at this and say, hold on a second. This is a bunch of shite.
Yeah.
Just
So the
read
only way
that
to
claim
combat that is to
again.
suppress us, isn't it? You can't have us with as much prevalence as SciManDan, because people in the audience will put pressure on him to overcome what they've heard from us. They hear SciManDan going, oh, right, yeah, it's just because this idiot flat earther thinks that the globe Earth that we're standing on is just this model of a ball on a table with an aeroplane moving around it, when he makes an example of how there's no drop when you're travelling across the world on an aeroplane. But that's what the people who watch think is the issue that needs to be addressed, because they've not looked up the issues that need to be addressed. And Dan's not addressing them. And we're not being promoted. So the world doesn't get to hear the awful truth that Earth's measured flat. So there's no pressure on Dan to answer it, is there? 83 people watching. Please go and let SciManDan know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. We want him to address the fact that Earth radius for his claims of a sphere Earth are taken from a flat plane. Earth is measured flat for his sphere belief, and we want him to address that, given that he's the most prevalent numpty in the sphere Earth, anti-flat Earth arena. Alternatively, you could just lie, Dan, like you usually do about debating people. Just lie. Hey, QE.
Neil, just read that fixed stars bit again for me, the claim. I wasn't sure what it's relating to. Can you read it again? Or not?
He's driving. Hopefully he'll come back in a couple of minutes. We can talk amongst ourselves while he does.
Oh, I'm here. I thought I was reading it, but I was still on mute. It says observation of certain fixed stars from different locations. It's exactly how it's written.
Okay. So that's a flat Earth concept, isn't it? The
Yes.
fixed stars is not a heliocentric. They're not fixed at all. It refers to the reality that we have the fixed star field separate to the planetas and the comets. Yeah. But in their description, it's not fixed. So know your own topic, mate, is what I'd say.
I think what they mean, though, Adam, sorry about the background noise. I think what they mean is that they're not moving. We are.
Well,
That's their claim.
no, when you use the term fixed stars, it's the fixed star field that other things are relative to. So if you're going to talk about retrograde motion, it's in respect to the rest of the fixed star field.
Yeah, but the people writing this don't sound like they're the sharpest.
No,
I'm just saying.
No, but then
well, you're correct. But what they think is correct might be something else.
But what would the certain non-relative movement with respect to each other prove a ball Earth? If I demonstrate a lack of parallax with a fixed star field, how does that support heliocentrism?
Doesn't. You'll need a flat Earth for that.
Yeah.
What else you got, Neil?
Did you say QE was here?
Yes.
So QE, Brian, you and Adam are here. So the 4 hitmen are here. I'm glad. Because D Rose is coming in at 10:30. You just need to hear something.
The 4 hitmen? What the hell? Why are you calling us the 4 hitmen?
That's correct. Well, that's what was explained to D Rose. When he comes on, he'll explain it to you. And I'm joking around about it, but it's a very serious offense. And it could get people shut down if this thing were to be let's say verbalized to the point where a baller gets a hold of it and decides to report it.
What? What are you babbling about?
D Rose is coming on a little bit. He'll explain it to you. The other thing I
Not
have,
relevant to the show.
right, pertaining to that is eclipses, lunar eclipses. That proves a spherical Earth and not flat.
Okay, although they haven't given us the actual argument, that's an affirming the consequent fallacy. If Earth's a sphere, we'll have lunar eclipses, therefore Earth's a sphere. How does it actually prove we're on a sphere? It doesn't, it just affirms the consequent. It's a logical fallacy. They haven't laid out the fallacy,
Yeah.
they've just made it as a
What about
baseless...
flight?
No, but they haven't been an asked Celine Dion, have they?
Well, they haven't made it as an actual claim. They've just made it as a baseless assertion, but we know how that argument is structured. So they give you the absolute bare minimum in this list. But if you go and look into what they've stated, so eclipses, you go, okay, eclipses prove it's not flat, it's a globe because of eclipses. Okay. Why? Or maybe I'll go and look into it. And then you'll find your way to the logical fallacy. The assumption being that seeing that there's an expansion to that baseless assertion with a logical fallacy of affirming the consequent will back it up in the mind's eye of a Dumbo. You know, your typical SciManDan viewer.
A lunar eclipse, but that doesn't exist. Nothing gets occulted.
No, that's true.
A shadow is not an occultation. A shadow doesn't occult things. It's a shadow. And that's what they're claiming. And they have no proof that it's a shadow. I'm just saying that a shadow is not occultation.
I wouldn't even
within
call it a
their own
shadow.
claim.
Well, shadows don't turn red.
Exactly. That's another one.
I've watched it with my own eyes. I'm colourblind and I could still see it changing colour. It wasn't occulted in any way, though. That's
Yeah,
your
but-
point, right? Yeah, occultation
Exactly.
in heliocentric orbital motion is what you require, and you don't have that with the moon. It's weak.
This is saying, though, if you read it, by many different types of observations, ranging from ground level flight or orbit, the spherical shape causes a number of effects and phenomena that combined disprove flat Earth. So it's all of these things combined.
We haven't had anything
on a
ground
spherical
level flight or
surface.
orbit.
We haven't had
So what
anything
does that mean?
Go on, Brian.
Yeah, ground level flight or orbit. They're trying to add in something that isn't real with something that is. You know what I mean? It's like attaching it on. It's like technology. It's that kind of a thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're begurking it out. They're not substantiating their baseless assertion in any way. All of these things combined. What things? You've not substantiated any of it. A lot of it requires a flat Earth. What else you got, Neil? Keep going.
Well, it says all these things, number of effects and phenomena that combined disprove it. Look, here's another one. The visibility of distant objects on Earth's surface.
The visibility of objects, that's perspective.
Distant objects on Earth's surface.
Yeah, distant objects, that's perspective. Hashtag shit shrinks. How does that prove Earth curve? Doesn't say, it's not substantiated. Let's just tell the audience. The way this is substantiated is by taking flat Earth measurements of surface level and using a derivation from eye level to infer that there's a below surface level marked with an X labelled horizon physical geometric sphere edge. The same one that was denied by our opponent in the pre-show, who told us to claim such things is a straw man. by us. That would be to say, our opponent told us in the pre-show that to say Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 and every distance to horizon will be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Where did we get that from? Earth curve maths. What's that you say? Straw man we're using? No, it's just your failed Earth curve maths.
Didn't I prove, without a shadow of a doubt, that the two can't coexist together? Perspective and occur.
Yeah, you kind of both. The optical
No, only one
resolution
can
loss
exist in reality.
calculation that they've labelled Earth curve is just that. It's a hijacking of perspective. It's an optical resolution loss calculation that uses surface level and eye level to calculate a point of optical resolution loss that they'll call Earth curve below surface level. But to make this inference requires a flat plane, and you can't incorporate perspective into that orthographic view. All objects in the orthographic mathematics of Earth curve, where they take a flat plane and a parallel eye level with it and infer that there's a point below the surface level to block boats and buildings, that cannot include perspective. The targets stay the same feet and inches value at all distances. If it's an 8-foot wall that you're calculating how much Earth curve blocks it, when you take the differential from flat surface level and flat eye level parallel with it, you're going to infer it based on an 8-foot wall, or whatever I just said, staying 8 foot at all distances. So when it reaches 1,000,000 miles, oh, well, it's only not visible because Earth curve's got in the way. Not that an 8-foot wall would be too small to see or anything. They can't include that because 8 foot isn't an angular resolution description. It's 8 foot. It's an actual size. Perspective would require you to describe the angle as it recedes into the distance. Hashtag shit shrinks. But they can't have that, Brian. Absolutely correct.
Well, a 6-foot object for an observer at 0 degrees eye height will disappear at 3 miles away due to angular resolution limit. The same, according to the maths of the sphere Earth, the same thing will happen due to Earth. Now, if both of them existed together, that 6-foot object would disappear at 1.8 miles away, because 3 foot of it will disappear due to Earth, and the other 3 foot will be at 0.02 degrees resolution, angular size. So consequently, it won't be seen. Now, we know that doesn't happen, which means only one of them can exist. So we know that these objects are disappearing at 3 miles away and will disappear 3 miles away. We know that perspective does exist, which means that cancels out our code, does it not?
Yeah, you can't have both. It can only be one, and we already know how their Earth curve maths came to fruition. They hijacked perspective. You can't then incorporate the thing you've hijacked and called Earth curve into the calculation, because then you'll have a double dip, as Anthony used to call it. Well, then it just won't work. Shout out to Royce Damiz, hopefully I'm saying your name correctly, bugged me why orbits of planets are all on the same plane. Now it makes sense. If Earth is a flat plane we reference to discern globe orbits, then their orbits have to reflect our flat plane to work. Absolutely correct. John, did you
What
want
do
to...
they mean by observation of sky from altitude? What the hell does that mean?
Another flat Earth proof. To observe the sky from altitude, that, to me, although they're not explicitly stating what they're claiming, means that you're up in an aeroplane looking at the sky, right? Would you agree that that is a reasonable inference from what you've just said, Neil? Let's just get that pegged down before we move on. Is it a reasonable inference that I say that claim is a suggestion that we're looking at the stars from an aeroplane, for example, Neil?
What was that? I'm sorry.
Is it a reasonable inference that what you've just suggested, that doesn't make explicit what they're actually claiming, would be satisfied by describing what looking at the stars from an aeroplane? Would that be a satisfactory inference for me to move on from?
That sounds like it's good to me.
That description, when you're utilizing the stars, doesn't comport with how the globe works in terms of their fixed distances to their heliocentric maths of stars in orbit. What actually occurs is all angle measurements to those stars remain the same at all altitudes. So you can go up in an aeroplane, take a measurement of the stars, and it is exactly the same measurement as if you were on the same point below that aeroplane on the ground. There's no difference. How is that a globe Earth proof? It isn't. It demonstrates the majesty of the sky, and it demonstrates that you always have the sky parallel with the flat Earth for it to functionally work. And it does. You go up in an aeroplane, you can still take a flat Earth elevation angle measurement from the aeroplane if you establish a horizontal in the sky. But in order for that to work in terms of ground positioning, you need the point that you've drawn out in the sky, a horizontal plane of reference, to be parallel with the ground for it to function correctly. And it does, because Earth is flat.
So it's a flat Earth proof.
Yes. Next.
That's it. You just got them all.
We got them all. Oh, cool. That's good. I've got 5 minutes left on the live show. I thought there was one more question.
No, that was it. But D Rose has a certain specific amount of time he can come in. So if we could run the show to at least 10:30.
No,
So when he comes in at lunch break.
I'm going to make my disclaimers for why there won't be a show tomorrow. So for the last week, I've been absolutely terribly ill, and I've reached the point where I'm now sweating and shivering, and yeah, I'm not gonna run a show tomorrow. I should have not run a show the last 3 days, but I feel getting to Thursday is adequate to stop people moaning at me. In other words, I won't get moaned at if I just don't have a Friday show. Whereas if I hadn't had a show today, yesterday, or the day before, people would start moaning. Would they not?
Oh, whoa. Wait a second.
I mean, you'd start
Tomorrow's
moaning, Neil.
Friday. Did you say you're taking off Friday?
I'm
Out of
taking
all
tomorrow.
days.
Yes, Neil, I am taking tomorrow off. Yes.
Is there a Ball Busters at least Saturday?
If there is, I'm not going to be there because I'm poorly.
I
He'll be
know.
okay tomorrow. He'll have a show tomorrow.
We should have did the Discord today then.
Should have what?
We should have visited the Discord today then, since we're not doing it Friday.
Visiting what Discord?
It's a tentative Friday thing. It's not necessarily Fridays that you go into the Discord.
We're always in Discord. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, he's talking about visiting another platform, another server.
Oh, I mean, I'll periodically do that when anybody wants to.
Man, I wanted to do that yesterday, but all right, fair enough.
If you want to do
Eli,
that
you
at
got
any
the power.
point,
Hold on, Eli, you got the power.
yeah.
You're in all these servers. Just tell Nathan where you want to go.
Best way to do it, Eli. Do you know how to send a link for me to just be plopped into whatever room? Do you know how to do that?
Yes.
That's how you do it. You go, Nathan, I've sent you a link to X server. Can you click on it and go in there? And I'll go, yeah, all right. And then we'll be in whatever server you like.
All right, cool.
Obviously, we don't want to stray too far from home in the respect that this is our home on Flat Earth Debate server. And I don't want anybody who's in that server to feel put out when we disappear to someone else's server, if you know what I mean. Because I don't run the Flat Earth Debate server. Maybe not a lot of people appreciate this, but it's not my server. I didn't start it. I don't run it. I don't moderate it. Literally all I do is go in and join the chat so that I've got a public gateway for people to join. Now, I do appreciate that people who join the Discord server enjoy the discourse that goes on inside the server, inside the chat streams. I just never look at them at all. Somebody contacted me yesterday in a comment section of one of the videos and said, I've sent you a specific message that I would like to look at on Discord. I'm like, I don't use Discord. Literally, the only purpose I have for it is this. But in order to have this and have a whole raft of people all ready to chit-chat with us, means that there's got to be an actual server for people to peruse and hang around in and chit-chat with other people in. So, you know, people still want the server to be run correctly. There's no way I could just start up a server and put my chat link below the video and then just hope that the room filled up. It's got to kind of, it builds up its own community, doesn't it? In order to have that group of people come in on the live shows. Yes, other people might come in from the general public by clicking the link and joining the server, but once they've joined the server, they want, as much as I hate to say it, the community aspect of a Discord server once they're there, in this case to debate about Flat Earth. So it's not just, I can't just have the bit I need, without having lots and lots and lots of work from all the people who do run the server. So just a quick shout out to them. I don't want you to feel put out should Eli send links to me to go to other people's servers. Yes, we love the moderation team. Yeah, we do. my G+ don't care, clearly. Right, that note, I'm probably going to round out this live show. So with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!